Welcome, everybody. Super glad to have you. This is Book of Dawn, Ioth Academy. This is a prequel D&D campaign to the one that Sideshow, Bren, Reinforce, Driftwood Ash, and Ubershouts ran long ago. And this prequel campaign has kind of messed up the canon for that story, so someday we'll have to deal with that. I'm Tormented by Gnomes. I'm your game master. We've got Crowan, Leg Day, and Lemon Kiwi. Crowan, what's up? Say hello.
Hello. What do you mean we messed it all up? We messed nothing up. Everything's fine. We didn't break anything, and we'll continue to not break things. Yeah, truly professionals, and we can do no wrong, basically.
It's true. We're actually infallible, just like the Pope. Leg Day, what's going on?
I blame the cat for breaking everything technical. It just seems like whenever the cat is near the PC, things just break.
Fun fact, the cat is always near the PC. She sleeps on top of it, on top of the tower, between that and the desk. And it has
it's a little warmies.
Yeah, it's nice and warm, and now my box is filled with fluff. So that's going to be fun. Lemon Kiwi, how are things going?
Good. We went from sideshow to cat show. Appreciate the big grade, and we have got a lot of cats that like to visit both in and out of games, so stay tuned if you like cats.
It's true, and if you don't, you're in entirely the wrong place. When last we left our heroes, young students studying at Ioth Academy, the greatest institute of magical learning, a place, a beacon of light in a world ruled by the cruel gods, the Infernals, that has withstood attack after attack in their 5th year at the Academy. And our students may have done some war crimes to try to save their home. These things happen, but we find them now in the capital city of Brontha, a desert empire dedicated to Zalar, the sun god, and Lemon Kiwi's character's birthplace. They're here to request help, having recently brokered a peace treaty preventing a disastrous war from breaking out. But the armies of Diffraxus, a city dedicated to the Machine Prince of Chaos, are on their way to Ioth Academy. And our heroes have come here to Brontha to ask for help to get an elite unit of Phoenix Knights to help defend their home. But along the way, they were intercepted by Anacra, the Machine Prince of Chaos himself, who had some enormous revelations to lay down on our heroes. And so now, things have changed dramatically. They've had a number of secret meetings as they're also planning to try to restore the headmaster of Ioth Academy, who's taken some void corruption and sort of become callous and more uncaring and erratic in her actions. They've got some items that they think are going to help, and next they're on their way to a meeting with the elusive spymaster of Brontha, who's just received a report that could be very important for their war efforts against Diffraxus. Before you return, team, am I missing anything super critical important, or is there anything you want to point out?
I think you're good.
Story tell away.
Okay. Our heroes have just departed from a meeting with a Sphinx, the treasurer of Brontha, Tycharis, who they negotiated. They gave a book that they concealed some of the secrets within it to try to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands before trading it over for these magic items that they hope will help Master Elnau. And they've just been summoned to yet another meeting with the elusive spymaster. As you depart, the beautiful bank that Tycharis hangs out in and sits behind this barred, curtained wall, almost on this podium that's like a throne. And you make your way out into the palace and the galleries lined with ivy and beautiful red flowers. You're making your way to the meeting. We catch our young heroes walking through the halls just before they enter that door. You have a chance, if there's anything you need to discuss amongst yourselves or plot or prepare, before you open that door. Tell me when you're ready to open it.
One thing I wanted to mention since we have the wine that we're going to be serving at dinner, that whoever, like servants or waiters, butler, whatever is serving that is explicitly only for her and no one else. And that if she asks, that Garnet will explain what it is.
Okay.
But no one else is allowed to have it.
Not the fact that it's laced with a potion of greater restoration, right?
I would say laced. I would say seasoned.
Seasoned. It's different.
Yeah, it's only poison if it's bad for you.
Why is it spicy?
I was like, yo, you laced my Prosecco with champagne. That's a party foul, bro.
I call it marinated with love.
Don't ever say that ever again, please. I did not like that.
Okay, deal.
Is it bad? I can't tell who went too far in that.
It might be better. That's typical on this show. Somebody went too far, but nobody knows who it was. All right, you have the seasoned wine with you, the sky wine for your headmistress. And the spymaster wanted to talk to you kids, specifically to you kids, even though there's all these adults around who should be making all these war plans, about the fascinating report that they just got from their spies in Diffraxus. Anything that you need to do before you open that door?
Is Elno with us or no?
Elno was not with you. Elno is inside, though, is in the room with the spymaster. You can choose whether or not you want Pevam to be with you, the young knight to whom Garnet was betrothed at a young age. Or if you want Inaros Ardashir, who's the marshal of the realm's armies, who believes that Garnet's dead father should have been the priest king instead of the guy who is right now. Do you want either of those characters or any other characters to be with you at this meeting? You would have time as you make your way through the halls to summon them, send word, etc.
I just realized I spent all of last episode calling him Minarius because I've been playing too much Diablo 4.
I remember you saying that, and I remember being like, oh, he's been playing Diablo. You know what? It's fine. I'm not going to... It doesn't matter.
I don't know what you guys say. I think Inaros is always an ally to us. Pavam is just out of character. He doesn't really do much to help because he has very low intelligence and arcana and all these things. But
not a lot of political capital.
He's just not helpful unless I'm missing what Pavam is good at, which is like strength. But
he's a nascent himbo.
I think that we've very much given Garnet like the lead on this one for political reasons. She not only knows how to navigate this, but also knows what they should not know about her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, this is the Fraxis shit where we can all get in on this. Probably let Al now talk. This is some...
Yeah. Like, Athalor's ready to nerd out about how they did that stuff before, but when it comes to like actually leading the verbal engagements, it's like, I'm not gonna delve in Garnet any more than I already have accidentally.
Oh yeah, you did rat me out. Did we ever take like a short or long rest at any point during the day?
You wouldn't be able to take a long rest. That's overnight. That's a full night. But if you want a lunch break, you can get a short rest. You want to get those Shadowcaster spells back.
I'm trying to remember if Lucky regenerates on short or long.
Pretty sure it's a long rest.
Yeah, that's a long one.
3 luck dice for an hour's rest. I
That's
think
OP.
not.
Because I know my character just needs like half the amount of time to do a long rest, but I always get confused on that. But anyway,
Long rest is 8 hours. It's how much sleep we should get, but we all work in esports, so we don't.
true.
Okay. The door swings open, and Naros has rejoined you, still wearing that phoenix necklace and the fur-lined armor that befits his status. And immediately upon opening the door, the desert air of Brontha is already hot with the sun beating down on the red-baked clay bricks that make up the city. This room is especially hot and somewhat humid, almost like a minor sauna. In the middle is a huge brass bowl that's bubbling and boiling. It's just a bowl of boiling water. It's got to be huge. It's got to be at least 2 feet across. And there's a table that goes all around it, a circular table, very low and set near the ground. There's cushions to sit on all around. This is a very sort of, almost like a conversation pit is this room. It's a round chamber, very high ceiling, and there are multiple fires and fireplaces and chimneys lit around here. So the whole room is really hot, and definitely enough to make you not full sauna sweat, but a little bit of sweat. Laid out along this table are a variety of beverages. Most of them are hot beverages, coffee, teas, some mulled warm wine with spices in it, and then various fruits. And some of them are from, never seen these before, and they have their own inner glow. On one side of the table is sitting headmistress Ika Elnau, a blue-tinged sky elf with her wings folded behind her and Ioth's staff of office in one hand. She is flatly regarding the man across from her, who's lounging and sort of picking at the various, there's some figs and some dates and stuff in a bowl that have been candied, and he's eating those. And perhaps the most noteworthy aspects of this man are that his skin is glowing red, as if you ever hold up your hand and put like a flashlight there and you sort of have that red glow, or when you just shut your eyes and look up at a light, almost that color. And his hair appears to be made of fire, and his eyes are pools of magma.
Oh, he's a full-on fire genasi.
That's why it's so hot? Can we tell that's the source?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of heat sources in here. Apparently,
Okay.
The Priest King's advisor just likes to keep his environment warm.
But
It's just
is
him.
he
He's
hot?
hot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it a Naros? Is it the fire genasi? Like, oh,
Is
think
it
that's
hot
so
in
hot.
here, or is it all the NPCs?
Gnomes make an ugly NPC challenge.
Difficulty impossible.
Impossible.
Let me see if I can throw him down here and then show our. There's a lot.
Yo,
of
does he have a flame goatee?
He has a flame soul
pretty-
patch, which might be worse.
That's hard as fuck.
I'm gonna move him over here so there's fewer. And he does have the
Please tell
pointed
me
ears
His name
as
is
well.
Guy
by the way.
Fieri.
Oh no.
Dungeons dives and dungeons, drive-ins, and dives. Here we come. Escape from Flavortown. All right. He leans forward in his chair. You know when you go from like casual gaming to focused gaming mode, he pulls one of those and he leans forward. These are your students. Welcome. Please come in. Have something to eat. Have a seat anywhere you like.
Greetings. Thank you for having us.
Ah, my pleasure.
We'll go
Yes.
for one of the glowy
Delightful.
fruits.
You eat one of those?
Yeah, the glowy fruits. They
Okay.
look too intriguing to not have.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Let's go! First roll of the game, baby! It is a con save. Oh no. Bam. 18.
Okay, it's hot, not spice hot, temperature hot, and when you take a bite, the warmth sort of spreads through your mouth and down your throat, and if you had failed that save, you'd be coughing and looking like a wuss. But having succeeded, there's this really like tangy, sour, but not too sweet flavor to it. Athalor wouldn't know this, but if you think of sour candy, but you get rid of that artificial flavor to it, kind of like a really nice, juicy blood orange is the closest I can say.
That's good. You two should try this.
And for the next minute, you have resistance to cold damage.
Let's go!
It doesn't matter, but, that's the thing. The
Would
doors,
Garnet know that the fruit is hot, so therefore would not want to try it?
yes, you'd be at least passingly familiar. This isn't something that's common in Brontha, but it is a delicacy.
Mason doesn't know. Mason's like, oh, really? Was it good? Sure. Goes to try one.
I thought like
Doesn't
keeping a
interrupt.
straight face with a bead of sweat.
It's when you go on hot ones and you're really trying to no-sell it. Roll that con save, Crowan.
Garnet doesn't interrupt because this is a canon event.
Okay, similarly, the two lads are sitting there like, oh yeah, that's good.
Almost goes to cough, like barely manages to keep it down. It's like, oh, very, very
right?
tasty.
Great.
Yeah,
Love it. I couldn't eat another bite. It's just so rich.
very filling indeed. Garnet, really, you
I
should
completely
try.
understand. And Sear takes like 3 of them and just shouldn't overdo it. But yes, students, magnificent. Yes, I imagine you're all here about the Diffraxus business.
Yep.
Yeah. See, it's normal that none of them are Muintiori, right, Elno? She shakes her head. No, I didn't think that you admitted anyone so young. They at least had to have their mage robes. So interesting that you three have been so heavily involved in all this high-level planning and just in the middle of all these historical events. What a time to be alive.
Well, I guess you could say that we have more of an outside perspective.
Always valuable. And that he leans forward and says, Pauldron, Gauntlet, that whole works. You make that yourself?
Yes, my family are quite accomplished in the artificer arts, and
It looks like Onderud work. I just wasn't sure if you did the metalworking and the enchanting, but it's an impressive piece regardless.
mostly the enchanting. The metalwork is slightly beyond my current capabilities.
Well, it takes a steady arm and an appetite for heat to make that happen. It'll come with time. Give it a shot.
You'd get on well with my mother. She loves to forge.
Yes, I am glad to hear that she is doing well after all of that unpleasantness. We are going to have to deal with this Diffraxus issue, aren't we?
Athalor simply nods as he is very quickly failing to contain the heat of the fruit.
Now, speaking of which, on the road, I've been hearing the most bizarre rumors coming out. There's a creature that was spotted in the middle of all this that nobody's ever seen before. Something I've never heard of. And I consider myself a bit of an expert on the subject. If you ever need a guest teacher for magical entities, I'd be happy to do a guest lecture. Not a full semester. I doubt I could keep up with that. But definitely a thing or two. I think that I could share some knowledge on that. But yes, in the middle of all of this, literally in the middle of all this, something completely not of this world. You hear anything about that?
Is he staring directly at Athalor?
Yes, he's staring directly at Athalor.
The details have been a little bit shaky here and there with the magnitude of the attack. My family and the Kothramoa will likely talk about the details in time. It's not my place to divulge.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of people asking your family for details, especially the other families.
I'm sure.
Yes. Well, your father has a level head and definitely knows his way around this sort of business. So I'm hoping that he can withstand all of this and come out of it with his hands relatively clean, his title intact, all that good stuff.
Recovery's in the nature of our family.
Well, the esoteric is in the nature of mine. Now, I am happy to go over what our infiltrators have just discovered and found out with you. But perhaps if you could indulge my curiosity a little bit more. Did you see this unearthly being? Supposed to be half again as tall as any elf, with a face from the deep seas.
Athalor looks at Elle now. I'm gonna insight check her.
Okay.
Can I roll, since I'm in the magical entities class, can I, like, come up with something that maybe, like, a list of things that are relating to whatever description he's fitting?
Okay. Yeah, do a deception check and do an arcana check. And we'll let you use the better of the two.
Ooh.
Ooh,
That's a 31 pass.
Why
Let's
do you
go.
Why do you do this to me?
31 to 30, bro.
Why do you do this to me?
And I guess, like, as Athalor is, like, not saying anything and looks at Elle now, like, Garnet will try to, like, back him up and, like, actually, I am in the magical entities class, and we would love to hear your insight on that, but based on your description, I'm feeling like, and it's lists, like, the entities and, like, slight descriptions. Oh, it could be this based on this, but we haven't seen this, and, like, whatever statistics, like just brainiac moment with the 31.
Wow. That Ioth Academy education is working well for you, blessed child. You know your stuff. That's impressive. Oh, well.
None of those?
Oh, I wasn't there. But those all sound feasible. I'll have to do some more digging. It's a hobby of mine. All right. Diffraxus. Some of their armies are already on the move. Not the whole thing, though. A majority of their force and some of their more cantankerous war machines are still being prepared and greased up and oiled and fueled and all that sort of thing. There's an old saying, amateurs study strategy, professionals study logistics. So we've been looking for a while at some way to cut the lines of the Diffraxian war machine to avoid any unnecessary bloodshed. And if it happens to make an enemy of the Holy Solar Empire of Brontha that much weaker, great. We just learned about the exact staging area for a critical part of their forces. Like I said, war machines, some half-animated things, on the outskirts of the city. You may or may not know this about the city, but Diffraxus is called the City of Lenses because they've got enormous metal apertures set up with gigantic, the glass-making skill required to focus a lens of that size is uncanny. They really are good at all that math and calculation. But they take these gigantic things and they take the sunlight and they redirect it and they send it down into enormous pits in the ground. Obviously, this is blasphemy against the Sun Rider, holy be his name, but more importantly, what are they doing with all that? They have used that energy in the past to wipe out assailants approaching the city at a fairly long range, couple of miles, making a direct attack or any sort of armed assault almost impossible. But hold on. God damn it, where did I put that note? Okay. So, there's a vulnerability. One of those is unoccupied and inactive. We've been monitoring it for a few weeks, and just recently, after the entire Battle of Onderud, a little bit before that, it went into maintenance mode. It's not actively directing energy. It's the biggest one. It's the most strange looking. It's built into a rock spire. And it's right outside their primary staging area. Let's say we send our Valorous Phoenix Knights to your assistance. We could hit them right there before they even know it. And given the nature of the attack that you launched last time, which I believe the three of you are involved in planning, that sort of teleportation abduction heist, I figure, and then I've been told that you, he points at Athalor, got a nice look at that teleportation circle, right? And that it happens to be just outside Designer 6's residence.
Yes, but it is contained within a rival vault, as you'd expect.
We think we can get the exact time that they're going to move out and the exact time that the forces staged outside of that perimeter are going to be the most vulnerable. Hit them there, cut their supply lines short, their forces are hampered on the way out. Seems good. Could I get insight checks from all three of you?
Wow. Ooh, nice.
Oh, still outdone. Fuck you, Mason.
I am watching, perceiving.
Okay. His interest and focus very subtly changed after Garnet gave him that list of creatures. Like, he started talking, aside from when he was directly addressing you, Athalor, he stopped looking at the three of you and talking to you, except when he was, calling you into the conversation and mentioning you. He's now speaking directly to El now. It's not like he's forgotten that you're in the room, but he switched priorities as soon as he got that list. That doesn't particularly help us, El now just sort of says. It's better than nothing, but I was assuming that you had more information about... She pauses, as if listening to a distant voice. Huh. She looks over at Garnet, and with a message spell, whispers over to you and says, Designer 8, the one you decapitated?
Mm-hmm.
They bypassed the mental encryption.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Are we done here?
I think so, yes. El now stands up and says, Yes, that sounds good, Seer. We'll coordinate with that once we've made the arrangements with the Phoenix Knights. Thank you for your time. And she just starts walking out the door.
One second.
Gets up and follows behind her.
Does Mantra go as well?
It's like starting to get up just because like people are leaving. It's like the reflexive thing almost, but then noticing that Athalor might be asking something is like staying.
Athalor's still sitting down and like looking at Seer. You mentioned an inactive lens. I feel like that kind of destructive potential left unattended could be somewhat manipulated for a post-strike bit of complication.
Yeah, probably. I'm going to roll a deception check for our boy, and I'm going to give you another chance to insight.
Ooh.
Since Mason's sticking around, could
Yeah, go ahead.
also okay.
I see this as a suspicious fry moment where you're like narrowing your eyes, but you're not getting a read of any kind. Crone, you gonna let that ride or no?
Yeah, that's fun. Distracted with like, wait, but they're leaving, but then like in that moment, just like did not pick up on.
I feel that would simply be valuable to a solar empire.
You got a bright mind. I assume it comes from being raised by your father. Brilliant man, that one. We'll look into that. We'll think about that. We'll see what we can figure out. Please send my regards to the entire family of Anan Darude, and if we get any information that's pertinent to his current predicament, I'm sure we can pass that along as a favor to a friend. Of course, the more we know, the more useful we can be.
I'll let my father know. I'm sure that he'll be interested in this.
Take some for the road. And he grabs some of that same glowing fruit and just like tries to shove it into your hands.
Athol was going to take some anyways.
Okay.
Mason will take like one. And say, thank you for your time. Does like a little slight bow and then leaves.
Inaros
We'd better catch up.
is going to shut the door and bow to Seer and then start walking. By this point, Garnet and Elnau, unless you say otherwise, have already exited the room. And Elnau is relaying things to you in message. The spymaster is less useless than we thought.
Noam's question, do I have any knowledge about spymaster in terms of like where are his eyes and ears and like how that's done?
Yeah, he is officially appointed by the priest king and by the church in order to be the head of intelligence for Brontha. So he does a lot of bribery and uses a lot of foreign agents who don't know that they are foreign agents just sources and friends and people on his payroll. And, oh, yeah, we're going to pay for the guards for this merchant caravan traveling through dangerous areas. And, be sure to give us a full report on everything that happens. He likes to work through intermediaries as much as possible because Brontha's strengths do not focus on reconnaissance and intelligence. A lot of his time is spent on counterintelligence. For example, ever since he learned that they are infested with mirror clones, he's been dealing with that.
Because I guess like the whole possibly knowing about the mind flayer is really strange. Because I thought that was really secret to the family, unless the whole Onderud population knows that.
Not the whole population, but the abjurers all saw it. The Kothra Moyer, who are in charge of balancing the gyre, they all saw it because he appeared in that chamber to save him. So there are witnesses, and Athalor's father told them all, we'll talk about this later. Right now we need to save the city. And then you guys left shortly thereafter, so you're not sure what the fallout of that has been. But obviously, our man Sear has eyes and ears in Onderud.
Okay. I guess we'll message back Elle now that seems to know a lot more than thought he would.
That's his job.
Right. The uncle situation I thought was quite private, out of reach.
Athalor's family has political enemies. I'm sure they might find an outside ally, an expedient contact to have. They might be sharing information with him.
Okay. Well, we needed Brontha to defend, not to attack, so are we thinking about attacking or taking the initiative here?
They could still be useful. I'm going to grab us a conference room and explain what we just learned about Designer 8.
Okay.
It's a huge breakthrough. I thought this was going to take weeks to crack that.
Especially without the sage.
Precisely. Elnau will gather all of you and politely but coldly ask Inaros to give them a moment. He bows, as behooves one of a head of state, and then she's going to shut the door. This is another one of those diplomatic chambers, so the sound outside immediately goes and just muffles out. And she's going to turn to the lot of you. The inactive lens Seer mentioned, that was the personal project of Designer 8, the one Garnet decapitated. They just broke through the encryption on his memories. That spire in particular was an experimental weapon. It's built on top of an elemental wellspring that draws power from the underworld, elemental energy. He was combining that in a focusing chamber with power drawn from the sun in order to extend the reach and destructive capabilities of that weapon. We have access to the entire memories of the man who built the thing, which means we know how to operate it and we know how to destroy it.
Are all of them built the same, the lenses?
No, this was his personal project.
So we could operate it to do damage to Diffraxus, or there are forces that are still stationed there?
Yes, Seer just told us that they're all stationed out there, and while he was waiting for us to give him more dirt on Onderud, we got this information from our own sources.
And can these not be operated at night, or does the wellspring give them power during the night?
It needs both in order to be maximum efficiency. Whether we want to destroy it violently, explosively, or direct it against enemy targets, or both. A small strike team armed with this knowledge should be able to deal a massive blow and force them to decide between calling off their attack or sending a weakened force against us. Phoenix Knights might still be useful.
Now, is this requiring mechanical knowledge about operating the lens or more magical?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
I have some experience of elemental wellsprings due to Ioth's culmination of them in the south of the tower.
Also, you were able to restrain the gyre from being consumed by the void, so that was good. You clearly have a knack for this. Masons, runes, and celestial light make you particularly focused, especially when you're in situations that exceed your normal capabilities. And the three of you have obviously displayed a knack for complex magical rituals that end in massive destruction, which is exactly what we want.
Thank you.
Are we going to require Artificer's help for this lens, or?
Yes, we'll bring along a small team. And if we can convince Brontha, which they seem to be ready to acquiesce to your demands, Garnet, if we can talk them into sending us a contingent of Phoenix Knights to act as our muscle, to hold off any enemies while we do all the things that require actual intelligence, I think that sounds like it could be successful. We'll need to talk to Untermaler, of course, and do some additional research, and go over all the notes. There's a lot of information from Designer 8, but I think that would work.
How much time do we have left before Diffraxus arrives?
We will want to launch this. They plan to send out those units, their war machines, within the next 3 days.
You said we have the knowledge to destroy this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the overall plan?
I think that's how we leave. I think that's plan A, and if we can use it as plan B before we get there, that's even better. We would like to also target one or more designers. If we can eliminate leadership positions, the ensuing power struggle should hamper their communications and logistics networks unless they truly are united and the Machine Prince is focusing on them, which is entirely possible. But eliminating one or more of the head designers of the city will throw their communications into disarray. At that point, they'll have to call off the attack. To do anything else would be a tactical blunder.
Did the designer have any idea as to the location of the others? Do they have permanent domiciles?
Yes. We don't have all that information yet. Like I said, it's a lot, but they're going through it right now. And this entire time, we've been focusing, ever since we discovered that student was visiting Designer 6, the Muintiori have been investing divination resources into Designer 6's magic and capabilities. We're prepared to counter that specific designer on almost every front if and when we meet. That's also the designer who's closest to the teleportation circle that you recorded, Athalor.
Yeah, only about 5 minutes walk from the arrival vault.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not accusing Brontha of anything here, but I think that they may want access to this technology after reoperation. This kind of lens crafting would be a huge boon to a militaristic solar empire.
That's true.
Well, out of character, didn't Buddy just say that's like bad against the Sunrider to use the lens and the solar energy? What part did he say?
Roll a religion check for me, please.
Oh. Fuck, come on, man. I don't know shit.
Athalor kind of assumed that everything he said was a crafted.
I'll just say that it didn't seem like he was a fan of the lenses and had said it was against the Sunrider's wishes.
But if they'll destroy it, all the better.
We are planning on blowing the thing up when we're done.
Right.
I just think it's worth bearing in mind that it could be a useful tool for them.
True. Garnet, how would you feel about sending the Onderud sphere of annihilation through the teleportation circle? Actually, no, that wouldn't quite work. But I am wondering if we can use that as a part of this. If Onderud's willing to part with it.
Out of character mechanics, it moves, 30 feet per round or something like that?
And when it goes through a gate, weird things can happen.
Okay, so if it's 30 feet per 6 seconds, so 30 times 10 would be 300 feet a minute. How far is Underwood from... I'm doing math here.
Nah,
300 feet a minute.
She's trying to figure out some way to move it without having to travel all that distance. So you can actually move it 5 feet, up to 5 feet times your intelligence modifier, which is probably going to be less than 6 unless your intelligence is,
It's at 5 plus 5
or something like that. 22. There is a chance, so when you move a sphere of annihilation through a planar portal or an extra dimensional space, there's a 50% chance that it's destroyed, there's a 35% chance that it successfully moves, and there's a 14% chance that it opens a spatial rift and drags everything within 180 feet to a random plane of existence.
Even when it's in the box?
The stabilizing effects of the box should help with that. However, El now raises the possibility, what if we do that and then break the box?
So transport the sphere while it's in the box and then just let it loose?
Set a trigger on it so that it breaks midway through the transportation, so that whatever disastrous effects happen on the other side. I think we could arrange for that.
There's only a chance that the disaster or effects would be disastrous?
Well,
or could you force it to be?
The sphere would probably destroy the circle if it survives the trip, even if it doesn't cause a 180-foot radius planar rift. My thought right now is that if we are going to launch this, we want to inflict chaos and destruction on multiple angles to, 1, conceal the true target of our attack, and 2, mess them up as badly as possible. You mentioned something about just bombing the city, Garnet?
I have a few different options for our offense. One, to gate in all the voidlings, like we had talked about. There's a spell in my book I haven't tried yet, but a void rift that would be a 10-foot radius sphere and pulls everything within 40 feet, so sort of like a dark hole if we wanted to throw that onto the lens.
Well, I imagine you'd have to focus on that, which would make it impossible for you to also focus on the lens array.
Someone else could do that, maybe.
That's entirely possible. Maybe we send 2 teams, each with a Phoenix Knight escort. One to attack the main city and Designer 6's residence. You go as part of that team, Garnet, to do as much damage as possible with void magic. And another team to break into the lens tower, activate the weapon, direct it against the war machines, and then destroy it. Aside from any other targets of opportunity, I would assign Athalor and Mason with that second team, and Garnet with the first.
And where would you go?
Most likely with you.
We've split teams. Would that mean the Sphere of Annihilation is not going to be involved? It'd be
No,
too
it would go
dangerous
with
to be
us.
close. So
Assuming
we still
that
have to
can
figure out
agree.
how to move it.
That's a maybe. We'll see if we can figure that out in the short time that we have. But the Void Rift may be practical. I'll want to take a look at that, Garnet, just to make sure that I'm fully aware of any side effects, backlash, risk to your person.
And
Yeah, we
how to
need to-
get it out of Underood safely if they're going to part with it.
Correct.
Well, it's not if, it's when. But it's a good
Yeah,
test.
It should not remain in on-druid custody. Obviously, it should be with the experts on the matter, us.
And the Phoenix Knights are joining both teams?
We'll see what they can lend us in terms of aid, but they would serve as our escort and bodyguard.
Oh, who exactly decoded the designer's memories? Was there any one person responsible for it, or a team of people? Seems surprised it was done this quickly.
It's Merfurio's apprentice, who's the most likely candidate to become the new master of necromancy, was in the process of attempting to use some speak with dead rituals, and managed to break through. I'm going to get a full write-up afterwards, but right now I don't care.
One thing, since we do have the memories of Designer 8, we could use his knowledge of the designers' locations to maybe use the Orb of Scrying to see what they're up to. If someone
The
could
scrying
keep
defenses
tabs.
are pretty significant, but we could probably do some of that in the next few days. It would need to be amplified, so it would take some effort, not just the orb. But that's a good idea. What else?
Any additional teleportation circle locations
Maybe
that were
he had
known to the
those as well.
designer?
Maybe those were encoded. That's a good point.
I have to assume that Designer 6 basically used this one almost personally. There may be others for equally important or more important designers.
I wonder how many we could kill with a single mission. We'll have to judge carefully to avoid splitting up our forces too much. But given the opportunity to strike a grievous blow against Diffraxus, that would be much better than just protecting ourselves.
It would certainly be a diplomatic boon for both Ioth Academy and Brontha.
Also, they're our enemy and will not stop until we're destroyed, so, fuck them.
Yeah, but what else is new?
Yes. These are good ideas. What else do you have?
Are we still planning on dropping the voidlings in maybe different areas of the city to keep their forces divided?
You and I will discuss that. We can only do so much in the span of time. Once we start the attack, we expect countermeasures to be very quick. They're going to have abjurers capable of dispelling any gates or portals that we have. So whatever we do needs to be fast and sudden.
How do we stop the active lenses?
We don't go near them. We're not sending in an army out in the open field. We are going to be directly inside their valuable areas. And if they direct their lens weapons against Designer 8's observatory, we just leave and they destroy it for us. If they direct it against us while we're inside the city, we'll be attacking key points and we'll be attacking the designers, so they'll be directing these enormous weapons at their own assets.
What's our out of character? What's our long range teleportation called? Gate.
Gate, yeah. There's gate, teleportation circle, and a spell just called teleport.
Does this require line of sight?
No.
Just.
But again, this is high level magic, and most of the time when you guys have done shenanigans with the gate spell, the sage was involved because she's one of the only mages powerful enough to cast that spell.
To a destination you select, so it can be anywhere.
Mm-hmm. It's a level 9 spell. It's as powerful as Wish or Power Word Kill. It's hardcore magic.
Would it be more difficult to detect our assault launching if we decided to plane shift from Underwood instead?
The last time that I did anything dimensional with Underwood, it went poorly. Now, that was because of the ongoing attack, but there could still be residual effects.
Well, to increase the likelihood of us arriving to our destination, if we can get the scrying stuff working, just having the description of the area will help, and maybe even the Designer 8's head as memories?
Yes. We'll see if the artificers in the Tower of Necromancy can arrange a better way to access those memories, perhaps even indirectly use him as the caster for those effects, so we can rely on his familiarity instead of ours.
Would any lens in Diffraxus be able to destroy Designer 8's lens? Or is there like a closest one that we could prioritize to take out so we could do more damage before the others get to it?
Sear's report has all of that information, and I think we're going to be able to wheedle it out of him, but he's going to want something in return.
So we have our priorities, we just need our logistics.
Correct. You won't be working on this alone, obviously. I'm going to recall Untermaler and have all of the wardens putting their resources towards this. This completely justifies bringing you along. You all have good ideas. Also, Garnet's a blessed child, so that's important too, I guess.
Why?
Oh, for a diplomatic mission to Brontha. It's pretty convenient.
Right.
There's going to be a number of war councils and meetings on this topic, many of them possibly quite boring and lengthy. Are there any other immediate ideas or suggestions that you have? If you don't, we have 2 days. Plenty of time to interrupt.
Out of character, am I starting to get a grasp of even how to create a sphere of annihilation since I've created 2 now?
You know what it feels like?
Like the trigger, maybe? Or
it's still fairly beyond you. It's something that you don't know how to control yet. Roll an Arcana check for me, though.
Any nat 20s? No.
Just a dirty
looking for
20. The angst.
Dirty, nasty, slutty 20.
Henceforth, that shall be known as a dirty, nasty, slutty 20. You're able to form a connection with the void. And a sphere of annihilation represents the void intruding on reality and eating some of it. There is one way you know right now that you could create a sphere of annihilation. Because you've experienced what it feels like twice now, if you used the Book of Seosh's ultimate power, you could make more of them.
Got it.
But other than that, you're level 6. And it's like a minor artifact. So doing it
Yeah.
on command...
She doesn't think she's level 6. All right.
Yeah, that much is obvious.
Like, let me cook.
And you'll have some time, by the way. We're not attacking Diffraxus in today's episode unless you really want to go off base.
Imagine we're planning.
I imagine you're going to have like a calm before the storm back at home before we do that. But she looks around at the lot of you. We're still expected to hold our dinner appointment. If any of you think of anything else useful, I expect you to tell me as soon as possible. Unless you need some time to hash it out or the idea is stupid.
Oh, most of our ideas are stupid.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Either most or none. There's no in between.
Enough of them have worked. That's inaccurate. Barring anything else, I'm going to go talk to these people to ensure that we make the arrangements. I'm going to start laying the groundwork for a small contingent. And in the event that the attack fails horribly, I'll arrange a designated survivor to stay back at the academy and see if they're willing. Actually, no, we're going to have to make sure. Yes. Garnet, your safety during this is going to be a priority. In the event that our mission fails, you need to be back at the academy to give Brontha a reason to come to its aid.
I'm sure I can arrange like a sending stone or something.
A sending stone won't prevent you from dying. Obviously, I prefer if none of you die.
Well, I guess it's your responsibility to not let me die.
True. I'm going to go do my job.
One last thing. I would recommend not referring to them as these people. When you talk to them, you know, diplomacy hasn't been your strong suit thus far.
Obviously.
No? Titles? Right. Okay. Good luck.
Good, thank you. And she'll go ahead and just walk out the door. You see Inaros standing outside like he's on guard duty. Just sort of gives her a little nod, glances in at the room.
Gives him a little wave.
I recant my statement. The potion was a fantastic idea.
Yeah. I feel like the spymaster was very strange. Not just in wanting to, procure more information, that part's normal, but I don't know. Something was off, it felt like.
I do wonder if they have curiosity as to who surrounds their blessed child.
Hmm.
Well, all the attention's on Elle now. I'm wondering what abjurers of yours are leaking information, very sensitive, private information about your home to
Enemy
outside
families.
within Anandarud?
Yeah, the control is not absolute. There are multiple powers in the city, and it's a very delicate balance. My uncle's appearance will be used to try and destabilize my father's power. And likely they're trying to have some of Seer's input into that.
And
Sounds
you're
like
not
this...
concerned about your uncle?
I'm concerned, but there's not much I can currently do. I hadn't been to Underwood for years, and my arrival was simultaneous with the potential greatest danger to the city that it's encountered in its history. I can't help but feel that my appearance may be taken by some as a more bad omen. I might not make things better on return.
I don't think you're that ugly, if that helps.
Thank you.
No problem.
But it sounds like then this information kind of leakage out of Underwood is something you might expect with all the forces vying for their own power.
Expected, but I should still tell my father.
Of course.
If he knows that the information's leaking, but to where is important.
Indeed. Well, that might not just be just here.
That's true. But this is the only one I know of thus far. If Elnow tries to cut you out of this mission, I don't want to be the one to bring you into harm's way, but I'd like to have you with us.
Who, me?
Yes. It seems like she wants you to stay back at the Academy, and while it does seem to be for a sound diplomatic use, you are more useful to all of us than just some diplomatic pawn. You are...
Have you seen these guns? These are absolute weapons of mass destruction.
Like the weapons in here instead, but you know.
Yeah, I won't make you carry anything.
The one is pathetic, bro. I can't stop looking at it.
That is a truly disturbing one. Like, it's such a pathetic one, it's not even red, it's just like...
That's because that's a dirty, nasty, slutty one.
Dirty, nasty, slutty one. It's so bad.
And I'll be more than glad for Underwood to be rid of that sphere.
Well, we still have our sending stones, so if anyone's in trouble, you ring it up.
And you appear?
Yeah, whoever needs help. Won't be me. What?
I'm just wondering how you could make some kind of teleportation reliably lock onto a person on the other side of a sending stone.
Well, I would just tell you where I am and you would just go.
But they want you to stay at the Academy.
No.
Miles away. Yeah, I know. No.
They didn't say I was going to stay at the Academy. They just said if I could die, then I should probably return to the... I should probably not be the one who dies first and should go back to the Academy quickly.
You're the one with the contingency.
Stop.
Yeah. Stop, drop, and roll.
I think Elna was saying that you shouldn't be going. But
unless
Brontha,
I
did you get that?
misunderstood. No, or like no, it was who's right here. I didn't understand that, but
she said she wanted you to go with her to blow everything up, and she said that she didn't want you to die. She
okay,
wasn't
cool.
being contingent, like, that's
Yeah.
pretty much all she said.
Athalor is concerned about her getting left behind.
I'm going no matter what.
Well, that I have no doubt in.
Who else is gonna make it rain demons or summon a black hole or put everyone into a void rift?
I think Elle now recognizes the use that you would have to the mission, of course, but what's more important to her? Protecting you or the extra damage you could do?
Right
Or
now, the
just a
second.
distraction. You guys are more important to get that lens all broken, working, whatever we gotta do with it. That's your
Working,
field.
then broken.
Right.
Very broken.
Mm-hmm.
Your field of tinkering.
Is a strangely well-suited task to Mason and I.
Indeed. Speaking of which, them uncovering Designer 8's memories, that must have been part of Machine Prince's doings, right?
You don't think the mages at the Academy are smart enough?
I think they're smart, but
Not in this time frame.
they're smart enough to recognize their own limits, I suppose. And the way Al now was talking about it made it seem like this was a big surprise that was done this fast.
Well, I like to think of him as still our enemy, and I won't be making excuses and giving him credit unless I see it. So I'll give credit to the Academy because we're smart. Did you see all the stuff that I spilled at that spymaster? Like, he's right. We have great education.
You are very smart, very well studied, Garnet. Yeah. Just not to take anything away from the Academy, I'm just wondering, and I think we should keep in mind how much the Machine Prince is actually influencing around us. I think that's something that's important. Maybe it's not the case, but it could be.
It's a compelling point, but in the end, I suppose we are going to go and blow a bunch of their shit up, so equals out in the end.
Well, not on an empty stomach. Is it dinner time yet?
It can be.
How do we make El now drink more?
Just spend more time with her.
A drink over dinner and then a special toast afterwards.
Oh yeah, I forgot to ask this before the session, but does she have to consume like the entirety of the fucking bottle? And wouldn't a bottle put someone on their ass, like IRL? Because it puts me on my ass, but I'm not her. So.
Well,
also,
how many potions did you get? 2?
2.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many bottles of wine did you get?
I think he said 2, but I mean, if you
Okay.
could concentrate it, ideally. But he said had to be 2.
Yeah. You have 2 bottles of wine. You have 2 potions. How you mix them is up to you. Each potion is 6 ounces.
oh, fucking Americans, man.
Oh, bro,
feel like we
I
need,
have
like-
to do. I thought, what the fuck am I paying this guy for? I gotta fucking
No,
DIY
I mean, we
some
can,
wine.
but like,
We just set the proportions and whoever is serving does it, I suppose. What is that, like probably like 4 drinks? Well, like 3 ounces a drink?
okay, 6
I
ounces.
want to. I've got to Google on
180
ounces.
milliliters. About
An ounce is 80
milliliters.
milliliters.
Because if it's like too much of it, then it's like sus. So, you know, it needs to be.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
And
You
what's
don't
the taste?
necessarily have to do it, but you can decide how you want it done.
How much
Also,
did he describe the potion's taste? Like, how much of this like freaking potion gonna put into the wine before it like messes with the taste and she knows?
You would recommend no more than a 3-to-1 ratio, and even that could be discovered.
Like 3 parts wine?
Yeah. So, 1 wine bottle is 25 fluid ounces. So you'd need to pour some out and then pour that stuff in, and that would give you roughly 3 parts wine to 1 part potion, which is probably safe and hard to detect. You
Does anyone in the party have like taste altering things? Like, isn't a prestidigitation
Yeah.
like taste altering?
I have prestidigitation.
You make it whiny. Make it taste like the best shit.
Well, it's good that we're pouring some out because I can sample the wine.
Yeah, and make it taste like that. Yeah,
Where's the wine?
You have it.
we have it.
Yeah, you have it. Again,
okay,
you can
I thought
decide
it was
if you're doing the mixing yourself or if it was done ahead of time. But if you have this plan, you should probably do it yourself. Okay. I wish Uber was here because I need to know what the best dice roll is for sommelier work. I'm thinking perception. Taste is a sense.
Yeah, probably.
Who's got highest perception? I have a +6.
Yeah, are you tasting the wine?
Athalor, are you tasting the wine?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't think
Not
you can
me.
use
Yeah,
yours, Garnet, because
I think
Athalor's
it
the one
would
who has
have
to
to
do
be
that.
have to be mine.
You could taste it, like describe the taste.
Yeah,
as we
describe
pinpoint
it, we can
helps
add our
them.
perception.
Yeah.
I would absolutely make you
Ooh,
roll a check at disadvantage to describe it.
Can I roll perception with my intelligence modifier?
How are you going to justify that? Because your senses are connected to wisdom most of the time. Eyesight, hearing, taste, and touch.
Because I feel like it's less of a innate sensory response to it, and it's more of building a almost metric flavor profile.
Okay. Give me one of both for funs and chuckles.
Cool. So here is regular, which isn't that bad, and
Okay,
here
that's
is
pretty
a roll 1d20
So
plus
winnable.
4. That's winnable.
Ooh.
A 7.
Wait. Wait, you rolled a 3. Wait.
Yeah.
But the 18 is for wisdom.
And you have inspiration for sommeliering specifically.
Oh,
Just got
okay.
played.
I guess I'll use that on the intelligence roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoops.
Okay, a 13. That's better.
Garnet took all the good rolls.
It happens. Hey, you got one of them, right?
True.
Yeah, you got a nat 22.
Just because Mason defeated you with his like normal nasty slutty roll doesn't mean that you shouldn't be proud of your crit.
Is there any elemental magic that goes into making Skywire?
Not insufficient amounts. This is much
It is
more.
earthy tones. Earthy tones.
It actually has airy tones.
That's
Oh,
two
sorry.
elements.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Sky wine, after all.
Yeah, it grows from clouds. Its roots go into like solidified clouds instead of dirt, so it has a completely different flavor profile. You know what would apply here? Proficiency in alchemist's tools.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
do you
do
have
have
that? Oh
do
my
have that.
god!
Roll for
There we
molecular
go.
gastronomy.
God, David.
We're getting there. Ooh,
Yeah!
Okay.
huge.
So you take like a little sip and then do some titration and a couple of things. He's cooking. He's literally cooking over there. And after a while, you think that while you can't replicate it with your alchemy supplies you have here, because that's a really complicated task. Wine is complex. But you have broken it down to the point where you can probably get it just right. But you know what would really help with that? A blind taste test. So I'm gonna
Getting
have
drunk
you roll,
for dinner.
We're
roll-
gonna turn up to like the one.
Teacher, I love you. Drink this whole bottle. It'll make you feel better. Roll an Arcana check to test. You have about 12 ounces to, well, probably less than that. Less than 12 ounces to. You don't want to go any more than 12 ounces used to test because that's how much space you have. You have 12 ounces of potion. And 2 potions. So you can trade in that much. So roll an Arcana check to see how well you can emulate it.
Are we all taste testing?
Well, you're using your cantrip right now to see
okay,
if
yeah.
you can modify the
Gotcha.
flavors. Then if you choose to do a taste test, that's up to you. I'm not actually going to force that.
Bam. 26.
Ooh.
Okay. As far as you can tell, it's indiscernible between the two.
Okay. How many of these can I make?
Channeling runes. Let's see. So the rune stays suspended in front of you, which means that there is a rune hanging out in front of you, which may make it difficult if you're trying to go unnoticed.
Yeah.
And
Put it
can
under
only
the table.
I mean,
pocket?
if it does stay suspended, that is kind of normal for Athalor, but probably still not subtle enough.
Especially since if you have a floating rune in the air, anybody with Arcana skill can look at the rune and make an Arcana check to see if they can figure out what you're doing.
How much does it cost to put meta magic on cantrips?
It's not
It's
normally
usually
possible.
less. I thought it was less.
Well, no, meta magic doesn't normally even apply to cantrips, I don't think. It only applies to spells of first level or higher.
You should be able to read it on your meta magic flag day. It'll say how many sorcerer points. I used to be a sorcerer, and I remember like cantrips are less expensive for sorcerer points than spells, but just double check. He's probably right, but
It doesn't mention.
Now,
Wait.
if you're trying to tweak with a cantrip, you could try to do some homebrew magic, go off of rote memorization and start doing theory and tweaking with it. But you have like a couple hours at most before dinner, and you already have to spend a lot of that time on this. These rolls we did, this is not something you can do in 6 seconds. This is something that would take you some time to accomplish. So you could try to pull off some tweaking with your magic.
Oh, I'm just thinking about like potentially refreshing with prestidigitation on the second bottle from distance.
Okay, all it says...
There's just one bottle?
All it says is that you can spend a sorcery point to double the range of the spell.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say it has to be a cantrip or not. So I was wrong, but also it's no more or less expensive.
Oh.
Okay, so
we're
I could
wrong.
prestidigitate from 20 feet,
Mm-hmm.
which would give me plausible cover at a busy dinner table.
So what's the duration?
That's
Channeling
up to
runes
1 hour.
last 30 seconds.
Yep, channeling runes are a no-sell.
No, I meant the prestidigitation.
This one's up to an hour.
Okay, well, dinner should be done in hopefully in an hour.
As long as the wine's gone in an hour.
Yeah, and I can redo it at range if I remember this matrix. I can do it from 20 feet if I use distance spell on prestidigitation.
So if the flavor profiles are so similar, then couldn't we just, in theory, just be like, just give her just the potion and
Let's
Give her the potion.
Just give her a
and
like
that
the
point
potion
only
in a
one
glass.
drink, so it's not like she'll expect to like get drunk off of one drink. Unless it's like really good stuff. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that's good.
mean-
We should just flavor profile the one potion. And the color, it'll be wine color.
We could put both potions into one bottle, and that would it would be more risky because then if she saw through my illusion, she'd know. Whereas the original plan was a lot more subtle. So it depends on whether you think it's more important that we get more done in a single bottle. If
She's
we
gonna
can
see the effects right
pressure
away.
her.
She's gonna see the effects right away. So if Mason's right, if we can get this into a single glass, and just, cause can we put both potions in one glass? I don't know, fucking freedom unit.
Not in a glass, in a bottle.
Well, I'm
both
trying to think
potions
of a
would be a
glass.
full
One
glass.
potion is a little bit more than a normal glass of wine.
Isn't a normal glass of wine like 16 ounces?
No, a glass of
Daryl.
wine in freedom units is 5 ounces.
Oh, okay.
And the potion
I
is
don't
6
know.
ounces.
we do need to present it as a bottle though, so it still need to be some wine in there. Just both potions and
So one
Bottle.
potion is a heavy pour. If you think about it, like when you're going in on the night or you've had a long day and you pour a glass, that's one potion.
Okay, so if we socially engineer a way to start getting on our drinking, when the potion starts to take effect, she'll start feeling things come back to her. That might make the nostalgia even more powerful, and she'll just keep drinking.
do you? Okay, question. Actually, has Elle now had any wine or anything just to drink since she started taking on all this void corruption stuff?
I don't know. I haven't been reading her sommelier's notes.
Well, I haven't
Garnet, do
had
you know?
I haven't had dinner with her. I just know this is her favorite, so I
Hmm.
hope that she'll have at least
Because
2 glasses.
if she starts feeling effects, she might not assume it's something like this. She might just assume, oh, I haven't had anything to drink since I've been all void corrupted. Maybe that's just how it feels now.
That's what I'm hoping she'll think it is.
I mean, wouldn't put it past her to be just suspicious, but
I have a
whatever we
scroll
can get
as
done, we can get done.
I have the scroll as like some sort of last resort.
Are you planning on for sure doing that after dinner? Still?
Well, I have to do it at some point. I just got to find a moment to be subtle with it.
Maybe you can have a kind of well, you can do your whole toast thing if that's the direction that you want to go during dinner and do drinks. Then afterward, I don't know, maybe you get all sentimental about it, have a conversation. Maybe at that point, the potion will have enough of effect that she might be sympathetic to you, more so than usual.
We'll see.
Okay. So 2 potions in 1 bottle of wine, and we'll see how much we can force her to get through. I should
Right.
be able to match her flavor profile.
Right.
2 potions is going to be about half a bottle of wine.
So it's like a 1-to-1 ratio.
Approximately, yeah.
But we were able to successfully flavor it properly, right?
Well,
I think
yes,
it's
but
mostly just the color.
It lasts for an hour at a time, so you're going to have to redo that.
Yeah, we can get through this in an hour, I think.
Mm-hmm. All
And I
right,
can reflavor from 20 feet.
So that's going to be the delivery mechanism. 1 bottle with a 1-to-1 ratio in it.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think we'll be able to convince Elle now to get through 2 bottles at a public function.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Diplomatic disaster as the Archmage of the Academy gets absolutely slizoshed at a formal event.
Well, the good news is as well that we're actually halving the alcohol content as well, so it'll be a lot less effective in muddying her thoughts.
It's true.
And maybe with the instructions to the whoever's serving this, like everyone at the table who's an adult should have a bottle of wine or should be drinking, so it's part of the party.
Normalized.
Just other people have
Peer
different...
pressure.
Normalized.
Yay!
Normalized getting through an entire bottle of wine at diplomatic functions.
Just other people have different
notes,
stuff.
Maybe even the episode title will be "Don't try this at home." We are not good role models, kids.
Don't spike your teachers, even if it is with a greater restoration potion.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Who else has read in on this plan? And Aros, like, kind of knows what you're doing, and he knows why you're doing it. You've told him. He's not fully read in, but he at least partially knows what's up. So you can talk to him. Who else do you have in on this? And this dinner is not going to include, like, the priest king himself. It's going to be a smaller affair, since you specifically requested that they not bring out the entire royal procession with the palm fronds and all that stuff.
Yeah, I figure it's like our group, like Pavam and Naros, us, Mom. I don't know. Who else?
We need like one servant to like not be in the know, but be like, hey, this bottle is for Elle now only. It's
Yeah.
a special gift.
And that everyone at the table should like be having some wine, and maybe we can loop in Naros just to be like, hey, like if I give you a message signal, can you encourage her to drink or just, help with that?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Inaros agrees to assist, and he will gladly be your go-between with any serving staff that's required. How much do you want them to know, or how do you want them read in on it? Do you want them completely oblivious, just know this is her special bottle?
Also question, does anyone have suggestion as a spell? Does Naros, Pavam, anybody have suggestion?
So, mind controlling magic, which suggestion counts as, would probably...
she's resistant.
She's resistant as an elf. Also, it might not go over well with her. Not that slipping something into her drink for her own benefit is going to go over well with her, but there's something like, if somebody used suggestion on you, you would probably consider that pretty bad, even if they were doing it for their own benefit. You'd be like, you just mind controlled me to do
I'm
this
saying
thing.
that's like a last, like if she's like, this tastes fucking off, I'm not drinking this, I'm sus, and it'd be like, drink it, influence.
Dominate creature.
I activate influencer mode.
Yeah, like the whole, I like out of character, like dominate monster or whatever I have is a option.
I will use the power of the void to remove the power of the void by controlling your mind.
It's ends justify the means.
The greater
First
good.
of all, the greater good. Also,
mending on her won't fix her.
I just don't want to also fuck around too much with all the guests we have at the table. So I'm hoping the pressure. So like out of character. Gnomes, earmuffs, is that we're gonna just engage in a lot of important conversation. You didn't actually have to do that. But just engaging in really important conversation so she doesn't just be like, why the fuck my wine tastes laced? Like, just
social pressure.
Everyone be in conversations, everyone be busy, act busy. Don't let her have an opportunity to raise a concern.
Yes.
My flavor profile is pretty good. Should be fine.
We'll see.
Just in case.
All right.
I agree. Good work, Athalor.
Our heroes head out the door after spending some time messing with this wine, doctoring it, replacing the cork, and using a mending spell to seal it up so that there's no sign of anything. A servant arrives and summons them forth to dinner, and they are about to walk through a set of doors that are brilliantly inlaid with gold foil, with the outstretched, a stylized phoenix design, one wing on each of the doors. And as those doors swing open and the smell of high society fine desert Bronthan food wafts through, and you can hear gentle live music being played, we will come back momentarily to see if our heroes can successfully drug their teacher.
Yay!
Let's go!